It's like that closet on Big Brother. Yes, I'm going to talk about putting snake skin on the back of a fiberglass bow. And since the secret is out, yeah, I'm not awake yet. I can show Keith's bow. Keith knows. Said you're killing me. He wants to see it. Sent him pictures, so all is good. I can show you the secret project. I was thinking about showing some videoage during the process, but believe me, I had to have 120% concentration throughout this process, really, except for sanding, which is kind of boring. So even though I was trimming the edges of the snakeskin, and I'll show it to you, it's like I just didn't feel comfortable setting up the camera and talking and not having my full concentration, because trimming the edges was probably the scariest step, because I'm using a razor blade and I don't want to cut into the surface of the fiberglass bow at all. And so that is that reason I'm like a few light bulbs short of the box, or a few bottles short of the six-pack, is because it was music night last night, and I am not good at staying up late, and wound up 5 straight hours of this, and I love this little thing. I am so in love with my violin. There's just everything good about it. I know it well, no frets that I need to concentrate on, and it's like one of those deals where you get into the zone, you're not even thinking about what you're doing. You don't need to think about what you're doing, because I know where all the sounds are in this thing. And so it was a magical experience, just jamming the hell out of this thing. It was great. It was great. And I was pretty much there. There's enough musicians, so they rotate out here and there, but I just manned my post and just played, aside from grabbing chips and dip, about 5 full hours. Got back here after 1 o'clock. And so, anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Some beer got spilled on my orange amplifier. The guitar player was using it, but hopefully it's not going to explode when I plug it in. They're probably made beer proof. Musicians never drank. I didn't. I had a Red Bull. So this is it. It has 2 small rattlesnake on the back. And if you're looking at it, you know, rattlesnakes have that quality that not every 2 skins match, and then even within the same skin, the diamonds are different, more subtle here and there. And I look at it as the Japanese view of wabi-sabi is that it's an intentional imperfection in your art. It goes back to the Buddhist philosophy. There's an impermanence to things, so that's tenet 1. There are imperfections in beauty, that's number 2. And the third one is pain and suffering. I don't know. I suppose pain and suffering a bit when a deer gets hit by this, so that's wabi-sabi. But it's going to be a beautiful bow. The back is going to be polished. This is just from the gluing. I haven't cleaned it up yet, the flaking on here. The back, because of there's faint traces of the brown paint that were spray paint on it, this is going to look, because of that, the wabi-sabi factor, it's going to look like polished horn, which works well with a bow. You're all aware of the Eurasian horn bows. Simply a matter of, I removed the paint, and then prior to putting the snake on, I took 220, yes, it's relatively rough grit for, you know, something like this, but just even both limbs, and then folded it so I carefully, just right along the edge, because you can see how far down this goes. It doesn't go all the way because of the compression tension factor. I don't want to have any shearing forces on the snakeskin, so I just went down, gosh, what is that, 3/16 of an inch or something like that, with the sand, the 220 on there, not down on this side of that thin limb, but just up here. So to glue it, soak the snake skin for probably 5 minutes because it's so thin. Absorbs water good. Patted the water off. It's damp, not soaking wet. Tight bond too over that. And then snakeskin backing is a little different than rawhide because you don't need to wrap it with anything. You fiddle with it. you can hear where the air bubbles are, and then squeeze all the air bubbles out. I did, though, wrap it anyway with gauze, just spiral mummy wrap on here, just to hold the edges down. And then a few seconds ago, a mere seconds ago, I took a very, very sharp razor blade, and this is hard because you can't really set it so it wants to set on the edge, so I had a clamp on here and rubber footies so it wouldn't rotate, and took it using my reading glasses, old eyes, the razor blade, lifted up the snakeskin so I'm actually not cutting in to the clear coat on the bow, and just kind of lifted it on and carefully just ran the edge along here. Snakes have scales, and so you can either use a very soft rubber black to just pull the scales off the entire thing, or I've gotten into using packing tape. I just make like one of those rolls that you'd get like fuzz off your sweater, your jumper if you're in England. Look how multilingual I am. And then just pull all the scales off. And then you've got the surface that you can finish. What's next on this agenda? I'm going to clean the glue off of this stuff. I'll probably just carefully scrape it with a razor blade, not cutting into it, just scraping the glue off. A very precise kind of thing. Off the sides, clean that up, maybe hit it with some 2000, whatever. And then it's on to paint details. Yes, Keith, you're probably watching this, you watch my videos. I like, on all my snakeskin bows, they will have bands of color. And I'm not going to tell you what color they are, but it will be striking. Helmsman spar urethane, my go-to finish. Not anywhere on the bow, just on the snakeskin and going over the edge a little bit to seal it down. And if you notice a lot of native horse bows, Native American horse bows, they have mid-limb wraps. And I've done it before. I might not do it on this because I kind of like a clean look. I don't know. But in the past, I have taken a rawhide, not rawhide, excuse me, buckskin. And I've got some that looks like brain tan. Just a little band here and then beadwork around it. So it might have the same beadwork as the colored bands here. I like continuity. I'm thinking it's still cold out, but I need to get the axe, my non-sharp axe, and chop the ice out from below the pole barn door because it is frozen to the ground because of the freezing rain, and get to work on Jerry's bow and possibly Dan's bow. Dan, a particular Dan out there, expressed an interest in a paddle bow, and so I'm going to be working on a series of two. A two-member family. And Daniel, as well as the rest of you, suppose you were to ask me, I want a paddle bow, and I make a paddle bow intended for you, and I show it, and then you're like, something happened this week. The price of rice went up in China, and I can't really afford it right now, so we'll put it off for a year. No ill will, no whatsoever. If you say you want a bow and I do a bow, not encouraging this, and something changes, honest changes in your life, and you're not able to get it for any reason, no big deal. You know, I'll make a video on it and probably sell it in an hour, so it's neither here nor there nor everywhere. Better make a cup of coffee before I fall asleep here. That is all. That is all. I'm sorry I'm not giving you more of this stuff, but take it in small doses.